Voice chat is available in Quick Play multiplayer. Use the directional buttons to highlight Quick Play and press the cross button. You can access accessibility options with the triangle button. Trial Target 1. Time Trial.
Are even the brightest stars safe from life's darkest turns? From Hollywood icons to royalty, no one is immune to the tragic grip of fate. Join us as we uncover the haunting tales of celebrities whose lives were cut short in devastating car crashes, stories that still echo with heartbreak and unanswered questions today. It was September 30th, 1955, and actor James Dean was driving his beloved Porsche 550 Spider to Salinas, California, where he would participate in the car race. At 24 years old, James's star was on the rise. He was young, talented and beautiful, with an aura of mystery and rebellion that enchanted the public. But James Dean also loved racing, a newfound love that soon intersected tragically with his life and career. Born in Marion, Indiana, James Byron Dean grew up with a restless spirit and a determination to make his mark in the world. He studied drama at UCLA, quickly distinguished himself as a remarkable talent. Filmmakers were drawn to his talent and intensity, which resulted in his breakthrough performance in Elia Kazan's East of Eden. He was one of the most promising actors of his generation, and would have possibly become one of the world's greatest actors. But it was not for his passion for speed and danger. By late September 1995, James Dean had just finished shooting a film named Giant, and was eager to return to motorsport. He allegedly dreamed of competing in the Indianapolis 500 race in the future. His recent financial success from East of Eden had allowed him to invest in his passion by purchasing a Triumph Tiger motorcycle and a Porsche 356 Speedster. James later traded the Porsche 356 for a faster, better car, a convertible Porsche 550 Spider, which he lovingly called Little Bastard, a name that would remain in history. On September 30th, 1955, James Dean was at Competition Motors in Hollywood alongside his Porsche mechanic, Woody Wuthering. They intended to get the Little Bastard ready for the Salinas race. At first, Dean planned to tow the Porsche behind a station wagon the whole way to the race, but Wuthering suggested that Dean drive the Spider to Salinas to get more miles and experience under his new car. After Dean gave his okay, Warner Brothers stunt driver Bill Hickman and photographer Stanford H. Roth left Hollywood and headed north on US Route 99, stopping briefly for petrol. At around 3:30 p.m. that day, Dean was stopped by the California Highway Patrol south of Bakersfield, where he was cited for speeding at 65 miles per hour in a 55 miles per hour. The group headed west on SR 166 SR 33 towards Blackwell's Corner via a well-known route to sports car drivers. Once there, they met with other drivers and departed Blackwell's Corner at 5:15 p.m., heading west on US Route 466 towards Salinas. It was around 5:45 p.m., and James Dean and Woody Wuthering were driving westward. Their companions were far behind. The incident happened near the junction of what was then known as US Route 466, now State Route 46, and State Route 41. As James Dean drove towards the west, another car, a 1950 Ford Tudor driven by a 23-year-old called Donald Turnipseed, was heading east. When Turnipseed made a left turn onto SR 41, he crossed directly into the path of James Dean's speeding Porsche, Little Bastard. Dean had just enough time to realize what was going to happen. As such, he attempted a racing maneuver to avoid impact. It was too late. The two cars collided almost head-on. Little Bastard cartwheeled through the air before landing in a gully beside the road. When authorities arrived, James Dean was extricated from the wreckage. He was unconscious and severely injured. His left foot was crushed between the clutch and brake pedals. He had a broken neck, crushed legs, and multiple fractures and lacerations. Wuthering had been thrown from the car, but he was still conscious, suffering from a fractured jaw, hip, and other injuries. The driver of the Ford, Donald Turnipseed, sustained only minor injuries. James Dean was transported to the Paso Robles War Memorial Hospital, where at 6:20 p.m. on September 30th, 1955, James Dean was pronounced dead on arrival. An inquest held on October 11th, 1955, concluded that Dean's death was accidental, and Turnipseed was not found guilty of any wrongdoing. However, the accident would haunt Turnipseed for the rest of his life, and he rarely spoke publicly about it. The news of James Dean's death shocked the world and Hollywood. His most famous movie, Rebel Without a Cause, was released nearly a month after Dean died in a car accident. The film immortalized the actor and helped paint the picture of a tragic hero gone too soon. By June of 1967, Jane Mansfield's star had begun to lose some of its power, but the actress was still famous for her bombshell appearance and willingness to play provocative parts in Hollywood movies. Jane never got the chance to reclaim her place in the spotlight. On June 29, 1967, the actress died in a tragic accident, an accident still shrouded in mystery. Fact or fiction, the story of Jane Mansfield's passing became the stuff of urban legends. Jane Mansfield was born Vera Jane Palmer on April 19, 1933, in Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. She had always dreamt of being famous, and her dreams became a reality. At the age of 17, Jane married Paul Mansfield. The couple later relocated to Hollywood, where Jane pursued her acting career. Mansfield was a smart woman. She quickly realized she could create a daring image and capture the public's attention. As such, she became one of the first Playboy bunnies. She stood out from her peers, and she was named Playboy's Playmate of the Month in February 1955. Whether it was exposing her breasts in public, or being the first actress to be filmed nude on screen in the 1963 movie Promises, Promises, Mansfield was well known for her provocative stunts. She had a pink house, multiple chihuahuas, and a rivalry with Hollywood's other blonde bombshell, Marilyn Monroe. However, when Monroe died in 1962, Jane Mansfield was deeply affected. "Maybe I'll be next," she ominously remarked, a prediction that would prove eerily accurate. It was after midnight on June 29, 1967. Jane had finished a performance at a nightclub in Biloxi, Mississippi, and began a long drive to New Orleans for a television appearance. Since Hollywood's idea of beauty had shifted from busty blondes to petite beauties, Jane's career now entailed primarily nightclub performances and small appearances, requiring her to travel frequently. That night, she traveled to New Orleans with her boyfriend, Sam Brody, and their driver, Ronnie Harrison. 3 of her children were sleeping in the back seat of the 1966 Buick Electra 225. Jane's 4 chihuahuas were also in the car. They traveled along the beach road, passing through towns like Biloxi, Gulfport, and Pass Christian, basking in the warm summer night air. After crossing the high-rise Henderson Point Bridge and the Bay St. Louis Bridge, they made a brief stop for a pit stop at the White Kitchen, a well-known 24-hour landmark near the Mississippi-Louisiana state line. However, after this stop, the journey turned dark along Highway 90. A thick mist began to settle over the swampy marshlands, obscuring visibility and adding to the danger of the winding road. Things got more dangerous as the Buick sped through the foggy early morning hours. A slow-moving mosquito fogging truck made visibility even more difficult. Its insecticide spray mixed with the natural mist produced a thick, blinding fog. As such, Jane, her boyfriend Sam, and their driver Ronnie couldn't see the 18-wheeler driving slowly ahead of them on the dim, curving road. The Buick, traveling at an estimated speed of 80 miles per hour, did not see the truck in time to avoid a collision. The impact was catastrophic. The Buick slammed full force into the back of the 18-wheeler, then it slid under its back. As a result, its roof was sheared off. The front of the Buick was almost destroyed. Jane Mansfield, Sam Brody, and Ronnie Harrison, all 3 adults in the front seat, were killed instantly. Jane Mansfield was thrown from the vehicle, her body landing on the shoulder of the road. The rumors began almost instantly. When Jane was thrown from the car, her blonde wig was left hanging from the corner of the shattered windshield. Photographs of the accident were published in the newspapers, and upon seeing a mass of blonde hair, people began speculating that Jane Mansfield had been decapitated. Nevertheless, the coroner who conducted the autopsy reported that although Jane's head had sustained serious trauma, including what may be called scalping, with portions of her skull exposed, it was not severed. Mansfield, Brody, and Harrison were all pronounced at the scene. The tragic and gruesome nature of Jane Mansfield's death inspired a lot of rumors and speculations. Mansfield's past connection with the founder of the Church of Satan, Anton LaVey, was the subject of one particularly persistent story. According to this rumor, LaVey cursed Brody, Jane's boyfriend at the time, to die in a car accident. This legend gained widespread traction, especially when the 2017 documentary Mansfield 6667 was released. The accident had a huge impact on car safety. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration mandated the installation of under-ride guards on semi-truck trailers due to the way the Buick slid under the truck and sheared off the top of the car and caused Jane's head injury. These safety bars, designed to prevent vehicles from going underneath trailers during a rear-end collision, became known as Mansfield bars in the actress's memory. November 30th, 2013, started pleasantly for Paul Walker. The 40-year-old actor, most famous for his role in the beloved Fast and Furious franchise, was spending his day with his mother and his 15-year-old daughter, Meadow. The 3 were chatting about buying a Christmas tree when Paul received a message, suddenly reminded of an event he needed to attend. He left in a hurry, completely unaware of the tragic fate that awaited him, a fate that would soon shock the world. Paul Walker, born Paul William Walker IV on September 12, 1973, in Glendale, California, was destined for the spotlight from an early age. With a mother who worked as a model and a father who was a former amateur boxer, Paul was immersed in entertainment from a young age, setting the stage for his future as a beloved Hollywood star. Paul's career began at the age of 2 with a Pampers commercial, and he went on to have minor roles in television shows like Highway to Heaven and Charles in Charge while in school. His career took off in the late 1990s, appearing in films such as Pleasantville and She's All That. However, his performance as Brian O'Connor, an undercover cop in The Fast and the Furious, which came out in 2001, rocketed him to fame and established his place in Hollywood. Throughout his acting career, Paul Walker was known for his passion for cars and racing and his dedication to charity work. A combination of those three passions brought his early demise on November 30th, 2013. That day, he attended a charity event organised by his non-profit, Reach Out Worldwide. The event was held at a high-performance car shop owned by Paul and his friend Roger Rodas, a former race car driver who also managed Walker's finances. After the event, Paul and Roger decided to go for a ride in a 2005 Porsche Carrera GT, a high-speed sports car that was difficult to handle. It was around 3:30 p.m. Paul and Roger had just left the event. Roger was behind the wheel, and Paul was in the passenger seat. Porsche had an estimated speed of 100 miles per hour. That's when Roger lost control of the car. The Porsche hit a curb, a tree, and a light post, and struck another tree. Then, it burst into flames. Those attending the charity, employees and friends alike, came running, but were met with a devastating sight. The car was engulfed in fire, and their attempts to rescue Paul and Roger proved futile. Roger's young son also witnessed the catastrophic accident. Both males were pronounced dead at the scene. Paul Walker died from a combination of severe traumatic injuries and burns. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department ultimately ruled that the car's speed and the tire's age were the main factors of the crash. Their examination revealed that the vehicle was traveling at speeds ranging from 80 to 100 miles per hour when it lost control, and there were no signs of drugs or alcohol in either man. The whole world found out about the accident within mere hours. The tragic event sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Fans and colleagues mourned the loss of Paul Walker, who was well liked and admired. Paul's daughter, Meadow, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Porsche, claiming that design flaws in the Carrera GT caused her father's death. While Porsche argued that the car had been abused and altered, both sides eventually settled the lawsuit under confidential terms in 2015. Paul Walker died while filming Furious 7, forcing the production to halt while the producers asked his family how to proceed. His brother Cody Walker came in to help finish the remaining scenes, using CGI to honor Walker's memory on screen. The crash scene in Santa Clarita became a makeshift monument, with fans worldwide leaving flowers, letters, and mementos in memory of the late actor. Bessie Smith, one of the most influential figures of the jazz age, was a force to be reckoned with. She was known as the Empress of the Blues, and was revered for her powerful voice and emotional depth. But when her life was cut short in a terrifying car crash, rumors and controversy surrounding her death started swirling. Bessie Smith was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, on April 15, 1894. She came from a very low-income family. Bessie and her 6 siblings were orphaned from an early age and left to fend for themselves. As such, Bessie took to performing on street corners for pennies. She was a talented singer and dancer. Later, she joined a traveling troupe that featured another blues legend, Ma Rainey, who helped Bessie develop a stage persona. By the 1920s, Bessie's career had taken off. Her soulful voice captivated audiences. She signed with Columbia Records in 1923 and became her era's most popular female blues singer. But when the Great Depression took hold of the United States, Bessie's popularity began to wane. As such, she took up smaller performances in clubs and theatres nationwide, which required her to travel frequently. It was during one of these travels that Bessie Smith's life came to an abrupt end. Bessie and her lover, Richard Morgan, travelled on US Route 61 between Memphis, Tennessee and Clarksdale, Mississippi on September 26, 1937. It was nearly 2 a.m. Richard was driving. There was a slow-moving truck just ahead of them. Richard attempted to maneuver around the car, but he misjudged the truck's speed. This misjudgment resulted in a high-speed side-impact collision. The roof of their vehicle was torn off, and Bessie, who was seated in the passenger seat, sustained horrible injuries. Her right arm was nearly severed at the elbow, and she had extensive crush injuries on the right side of her body. Richard Morgan was unscathed, but Bessie lay critically injured in the middle of the road. That's how the first person on the scene, a surgeon named Hugh Smith, found her. He quickly Kelly realized Bessie required immediate medical attention. He stabilized her as best he could, dressing her injured arm with a clean handkerchief, while his colleague proceeded to call an ambulance. Tragedy almost struck again when another car rushing towards the scene collided with Dr. Smith's parked vehicle, nearly missing Bessie Smith. Eventually, as Bessie's state deteriorated, two ambulances arrived, one from a black hospital and one from a white hospital. Because of the segregation laws of the Deep South, Smith was taken to Clarksdale's G.T. Thomas Afro-American Hospital. Her arm had to be amputated, but Bessie Smith never regained consciousness. She succumbed to her injuries that morning. That's when rumors started swirling. Some people claimed Bessie died after being denied admission to a whites-only hospital. Jazz writer John Hammond perpetuated this myth in a 1937 Downbeat magazine piece, eventually laying the foundation for Edward Albee's 1959 play, The Death of Bessie Smith. Dr. Hugh Smith, who treated her on the site, dismissed the claim, noting that no ambulance in that area would have considered transporting an African-American patient to a whites-only hospital at the time. Bessie Smith was buried in Philadelphia on October 4, 1937. Thousands of mourners came to pay their respects to the Empress of the Blues. Sadly, her grave remained unmarked for decades. During those years, her estranged husband, Jack G., thwarted efforts to erect a headstone. In 1970, a tombstone was finally placed on Bessie's grave, funded by singer Janis Joplin and Juanita Green, a friend of Bessie's. Before becoming Princess Grace of Monaco, she was Grace Kelly, a hugely successful Hollywood actress revered for her beauty and style. Grace's ascension from Hollywood star to royalty fascinated the world. When her life tragically ended on September 14, 1982, the whole world mourned and waited for the true details of her death to surface. Grace Patricia Kelly was born on November 12, 1929. She has always been interested in the arts and aspired to be an actress. After high school, she relocated to New York City to pursue her ambition. 2 years later, she was cast alongside Hollywood legends Clark Gable and Ava Gardner in the movie. Soon after, she gained the attention of Alfred Hitchcock, who featured her in 3 of his most famous films, solidifying her reputation as one of Hollywood's brightest stars. Kelly met Prince Rainier III of Monaco while filming The Swan in 1955. At 25, she played the role of a princess on screen and soon became one in real life. Their union was the stuff of fairy tales, capturing the imaginations of admirers worldwide. Kelly left Hollywood in April 1956 to marry Prince Rainier and become Princess Grace of Monaco. From then on, she dedicated her life to her royal duties and raising their 3 children. It was September 13th, 1982. Princess Grace and her 17-year-old daughter, Princess Stephanie, travelled to Monaco from the family's country home in Roqueagle, France. That morning, Grace dismissed her chauffeur and decided to drive herself because the car was filled with dresses and boxes. But as they drove their Rover 3500 down the winding roads of the Côte d'Azur, Grace briefly lost consciousness. In reality, she had just suffered from what doctors would later call a minor cerebral vascular incident, a stroke-like attack. As such, Grace lost control of the vehicle. She missed a curve and veered off the road, plunging about 100 feet down a mountainside. The car tumbled through the air, crashing through pine branches and rocks before landing in the garden of a house below. Stephanie survived with only a hairline fracture in her vertebrae, but Grace's injuries were significantly more severe. She was immediately taken to the hospital and remained in a coma for 24 hours before being declared brain dead. On September 14th, her husband, Prince Rainier III, made the heartbreaking choice to remove her from life support. Following her death, some claimed that Stephanie, who was underage and unlicensed, had been driving that day, or that mother and daughter were arguing beforehand. Stephanie has denied these allegations, claiming that she was not moving and merely fled the vehicle from the driver's side due to the passenger door being fully smashed. On September 18, 1982, almost 100 million people watched Grace Kelly's funeral. Heads of state, celebrities and royals attended the ceremony, which took place in the same church where she had her fairy tale wedding in 1956.
everyone is calling this the new $1 billion stimulus program for California homeowners. It's a brand new solar energy program that will literally pay you.
Democrats are against it. I generally stay away from politics. The conduct that I saw last night, Democratic side, House Representatives. Little boy survived brain cancer. He gets on. Y'all do? Y'all should put your hands under your legs and keep clapping. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you sit on. Where a little boy or a child or anybody gets honored like that, give them the accolades they deserve. I'm ashamed that I was ever part of that Democratic Party. I used to think for a long time ago I was a veteran Democrat. What y'all did last night was make my sleep turn.
Democrats might be losing more than just elections. They are losing serious members of the party. This could spell the end. I think this is a very share-worthy video. I hope you will share this with everybody that you know, especially your, I call them the Hippocrats, but your Democrat friends, neighbors, coworkers, etc. And I'd love to get their thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. I'll share with you a lot of video clips of what I am calling this video the official end. This could be the beginning of the end of the current Democrat Party. And quite frankly, probably, quite frankly, it's going to happen a long time ago. I agree, Mr. President. The American people have spoken.
Check out these videos here.
I voted for Democrats my whole life. They never did anything they promised. They would come to the black church and sing some Negro spirituals with us, and then disappear. Once they got on the vote, they never did anything they promised. I voted for a Republican once in my life, and this dude did everything he promised on steroids. He ain't even been in office 2 months, and everything I voted for, I'm getting. It's amazing. Do he sleep? Like this dude, if he sleeps, he wake up on a mission to do what Nikia voted for. He said, Nikia want me to fix that border, I'm on it. Nikia want to make sure them tax dollars is being spent for Americans more than anybody else, I'm on it. Like, this dude wakes up, I feel like, with me and mom. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he be thinking about me. It's like being at the casino. You put in that Democrat coin, you put it in and you pull the thing and you know, you're gonna win. You put in another Democrat coin and you pull the thing and so you didn't win. You put in that Republican coin, put in a Republican coin for the first time. Hold on. Won. Wow. So you know what that tells me? That tells me to never vote for Democrats again in life. Ever. Because you're not going to win this. I voted for a Republican once. Hit the jackpot. I will continue to do that again and again. How do you not love that? That's so good.
Results speak volumes. Words mean nothing if they're not backed by action. The only thing that I would say, different is, I agree with everything you said, is the fact that I don't even think he can call Trump a Republican. I think he has revolutionized politics. I think he's created a brand new party. I think he's created the common sense party, which is our channel. And common sense go viral because I want my kids and my grandkids' grandkids to everything that you and I grew up in. That makes sense. I mean, some of these things, excommunicating males from female sports, that should be completely. By the way, for a should be split. This is the worst speech ever by a U.S. president in the history of our country. great.
Yeah, 6WC.
Feel because I do think the silent majority thinks about the loudest group, general public. How cool are the loudest group is
Yeah, I was trying to answer when I got to beat up. Yeah, it's me. Got my SIM card turned back on. I had to, replenish it, but it took me off to come back on. I think I heard John about 2 days ago, maybe, and he was in Vietnam. We talked for a little while. Yeah, well, my card's working and I can talk on the way through the house, so that's just working. And not much else going on. I'm just very happy to see that things were going well. I watched the dress a couple of nights ago. It was incredible. I mean, it was awesome. It was beyond awesome. No, President Trump held his address and covered a lot of topics and problems and solved a lot of problems. He was talking and introduced people who had relatives killed by illegal aliens that were criminals and just covered everything. It was an incredible event. I watched, it was over 2 hours long. I think I watched about 2.5 hours of it. It was incredible. He was a fantastic person.
Oh, yeah, Steve, you did a great say, his first time posting people, so he mentioned gas prices or anything. It's true.
He covered everything. He may have covered gas prices, but it's some of his comments covered more than just one topic at a time. But if you have YouTube, you can just type in his presidential address to watch the whole thing. And one of the things that was really pitiful about it was the Democrats never stood up. They honored the people who were killed and by either aliens, people who had medical problems that would come in and awarded different things. And the Democrat side stayed seated. And one of them, named Al Green, he got up and acted a fool. They had to kick him out. And people stand up and clap for different things, but Democrats never clapped. I think I saw maybe 4 or 5 way in the back that were Democrats that actually stood up. And she clapped, and one was clapping, and they looked around the rest of the Democrats and stopped clapping. It's one hell of a historical document to watch. I highly recommend if you can get on YouTube and watch that address from a couple nights ago.
Yeah, sounds quite entertaining, huh? Don't need anything mental Social Security or anything.
Jack, he covered everything. It's something that no American should not watch. I think every American should watch it to get the speed of what's going on. It's incredible. It's a fantastic historical document to watch. If you can find it on YouTube, extremely recommend you watch it.
Yeah, I'll do that, man. I'll check it out. I was gonna forget about it.
I think a lot of people that are Democrats are embarrassed to be Democrats now after what was exhibited in the presidential address a couple nights ago. Absolutely crushing the Democrats. It just makes you see how they'll go along with a lie or something that's not true, fight for it, even die for something that's not true or bad. It was a very telling experience to watch this historical document.
Yeah, well, awesome. Maybe I'll check it out later. Also, I can find the whole thing on YouTube.
You should be able to find it, and you'll be very glad that you did find it. It's a lot of resolve in it, a lot of satisfaction in watching it. So if you want to warm your soul and improve your spirit, just watch that. And you know we got the right pilot in the cockpit now. We're not headed for a mountain. Two co-pilot, two pilots don't know what the hell they're doing.
People got laid off of the IRS, things like that. They're trying to figure out that's the way it goes. Hey, it might make you think that Social Security, like, maybe they might like to take that away, but if they took that away, that would be political suicide. Plus, people pay into that, you know.
Well, because of all the ways that Elon Musk found in our government, we're more secure now. All that money that was going to other countries for stupid things. My aunt, she's anti-Republican, but she was at my house. And she saw a story of a nonprofit in San Antonio, Texas, that was taking $18 million a month from the government, and they had a couple of buildings with beds in it to house people, and those beds were empty. They had vehicles to transport people. Those were brand new, into the city. So, for the last 3 years, I believe it was, or 4 years, at $18 million a month, they were being paid. That's just one minor example of all the money that's been going to one place. And I'm saying this because with all these things that were being misspent on, now that money is going to stay with Americans and go to help secure Social Security. And also all the people that have passed away that are still in Social Security. All this waste is going to be straightened out. Because President Trump asking Elon Musk to look into it, and they've done a very good job. I hope the next thing that they attack is all these scammers attacking Americans and scamming phone calls. I hope maybe a time down the road to wipe this stuff out.
It should be nice, huh? Like, yeah,
Imagine a time in which when your phone rings, it's somebody that you know calling, or a call that you approve of, and not strangers calling your phone, not strangers putting crap into your email, junk.
there, it's interesting. One point I just want to make on our show there is, when she talks about being bullied, she talks about being pushed around within her own party, not by, the other side, some students come back or whatever. But I've been hearing this over and over. And, they call MAGA a cult. To me, the definition of a cult is a bunch of people I believe are destroyed. And it sounds like this Democrat, right? Has a lot of followers on TikTok. She posts that whole lot. She's getting a ton of people in her own party. And I've heard that time and time again. And I think it's what's created this cult that can really saw in full 3D Technicolor on the night of President Trump's speech as they all hit us. I mean, I can only imagine one of the group that actually stood for that unbelievable kid DJ with brain cancer who was appointed a Secret Service member by Trump live on air. I can only imagine one of those cultists in the Democrats that actually stood up. The amount of bullying that guys, like Schiff and Hakeem and AOC and Interhan Hogan and the rest of them. I can only imagine. Leave a comment if you feel that you get bullied. Simple common sense matters.
I did pretty nice to you. Yeah, I
You know, just I'm just trying to do stuff.
In fact, I've gotten quite a few messages from them saying that they don't want to affiliate with Democrats anymore. Deeply regret citing combining
Just
the
take that side of small things.
I wish we
We
could
have to do
stop
it. I don't know if I'm trying to
because, it never fails to amaze me. I don't understand. So you care about women, right? But you won't cheer for women and you won't cheer for us getting men out of women's sports. You're angry about it, right? No, but you care for women, right? Sure. You care for children, but
All right, Jack, take it easy.
child who just got named in Congress for service member who has brain cancer and wasn't supposed to survive? Right. And you won't cheer that we're no longer
Okay. I just want to say, if you're talking to a minute at a time with your phone, years ago, I guess, it's always been a wrong number, but years ago, it's nice when somebody would call you, though. Yeah, that's spammers or breaching somebody's phone. From spoofs. Bug you all the time. Have a good one, man.
You claim you care about the justice system, but we bring up the fact that Reagan and Johnson were given justice, but you don't cheer about that. You claim you want peace and you care
All right,
about
Jack.
peace.
KF6PD, clear. I'll be back out here in 2 hours.
$50 billion to a country that doesn't want peace. Well, let me put this up. To a country whose ruler, whose dictator doesn't want peace. They want him gone, and for some reason you're siding with him. Sure. Do you know how embarrassing it is to say that you're doing it? It would fuck embarrass I would be to say that I wasn't doing it. I would never show my face again. You turned your own people against you this last election. You turned even more against you last night. I've got emails on every single one of my social media platforms telling me that they were so blinded by your lies that they don't even know what to believe right now and they're shocked, okay? Some of these people I had to convince to take a break off of social media because they're that shocked by the reality of your fucking party. You don't care about anybody but yourself. You don't give a fuck about America, okay? You claim that you can benefit from it and all the freedoms you have here, while simultaneously complaining as if you don't have any freedoms. Be self-aware. You guys will never win again with this behavior until you change this behavior. Nothing will change for you. You will always be in this hole, and you guys are the ones holding the shovel indignant. Till you throw that shovel on the ground, nothing will change for you. You will just keep losing. Your behavior is the whole reason why you lost. You don't like America. Get the fuck out of America. Or better yet, figure out why you don't like it and change it. Oh, well, maybe it's not the best. Then leave. You can, go to Canada, bitch. Go be free. You can enjoy your national guard, right? Help them fight. Go ahead. You want to see as many fireworks about insult lines? But no, I'd love for you to come back to me and tell me you're actually doing it, because you know God on his own. Okay, he didn't fight for shit. He's getting his men kidnapped off the streets to be sent to a war they didn't want to start. And you guys think he cares about his people? Okay? You want to silence and censor people who don't share opinions with you, and you think we're the problem. You think we're the ones who are problems. You won't support anybody who does not support every single ideology you have. And you think we're brainwashed? You think we're bigoted? Okay. So I really hope you're embarrassed to be a Democrat. And if you're not, so be it. You can stay a self-entitled little brat. So be it. But I hope you realize that I'll punch you in the face so far you cannot wait until it does. Okay? If you don't learn to get over yourself, you're never going to win again. But again, can't claim to care about things when you're simultaneously hating on every single thing that doesn't agree with every single ideology you have. I'd be pretty embarrassed if I were you. I would not show my face anymore if I were you. I would stop arguing because all the points you're getting now are just things that CNN told you to say. You need to form your own thoughts. You're in a court, okay? So you can reprogram your brain and actually form your own opinions. I don't know. Okay.
How old do you think that girl was? That to me was extremely impressive. Very. She laid out, it was taught those famous logos, which is the foundation of law, the foundation of argumentation, communications, the whole works. She implemented every single principle to perfection. She backed it up with examples, concrete, substantive demonstrations and examples to back up her claims. Beautiful stuff. And that makes me so impressed. If I was her father, I would be so proud right now. Are we seeing the Great Awakening? I've said this time and time again, it's not about right or left, it's not about Republican, Democrat. This is just about being an American. This is a common sense revolution. This is just going back to normalcy. Legitimate normalcy. We have gone bonkers. These cancerous DEI ideologies that have infected our society. We finally got the best surgeon on the planet to excise that tumor out. And I'm so excited. The American people have spoken. I'm so proud of these people. Share this, tap the thumbs up. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you want to get your everything on the channel, 100% made in the USA, Nice Nation merch, links in the pinned comment, also in the description. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here, just in case you missed it. Tap the face right there. It's free. Subscribe and follow. God bless you. God bless the USA.
Watch this fridge test for fake olive oil.
I like this olive oil. It's different. They're not supposed to for olive oil. It's 100% better solid. But I come over here. The olive oil. The other cheaper ones, it would make something like this. It's in the liquid consistency. Unfortunately, this method is actually not most times. It's solid. One color. So even olive oil, yes, it's part of the trade. But really, it's just the fraction of olive oil. Not unsaturated. Which is good for article. Also, hot cold olive oil.
Someone told me olive oil is shaving.
Shaving, you mean? Yeah. Swap out that spray tan and slather on some olive oil instead. It can actually be really useful for moisturizing your skin and helping it look bright and fresh. It's snoring back. It turns out olive oil lubricates your respiratory passages so that vibration doesn't happen. Vitamin E? Yes. Extra virgin olive oil can help contribute to the look of your teeth because it can bind to plaque and tartar, then help remove the craving. But before you pull that bottle from the kitchen, there are 3 important things about store-bought olive oil that you should know. According to this article, restaurants such as McDonald's give their leftover greasy oil to create fuel for delivery trucks. Belongs in an engine. So how exactly did these commercial oils become a go-to for the food, restaurant, and health industry? One word, money. Rewind to World War. During this time, seed oil was in hot demand because it was used to fuel ships and airplanes. They were also used as machine lubricants. In fact, even as a paint coating for weapons. After the war, demand for seed oils plummeted. And incidentally, that's when big companies
oils to health foods. Well, sheep last forever on the store shelf. Just like seed oils end up in just about everything you eat. In fact, there are studies and experts to this day, often funded by these same big corporations, still pushing the agenda. Seed oils are good for you, all to make it quick. But you don't have to be a health expert to know anything you use to fuel trucks or grease machinery probably shouldn't be going into your body. And considering that we eat on average 80 grams of vegetable oils a day, which is roughly 720 calories, it's no wonder 2 in 5 people now live with obesity in America. But did you know what happens when you start eating just 2 tablespoons a day of the right olive oil? Weight starts to practically melt off your body. The energy levels feel like it did in your 20s. And your digestive system might feel like it did in your 20s too. And today I'm going to show you the easiest way to do just that. Hi, I'm Dr. Stephen Bennett. I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon turned nutritionist. And over the last decade, I've made waves in the health field. That's because I'm not afraid to ruffle some feathers, and I'm constantly shining a light in ways that greedy corporations make us sick every day. And yes, that includes the so-called health industry too. After all, I used to be 70 pounds overweight and thought I was eating a healthy diet. But the reality is seed oils aren't limited to chips and junk food anymore. They're in protein bars, even oat and almond, meaning even if you're committed to a healthy diet, there's still a chance you're still eating seed oils every day. And as a result, gaining weight feels impossible to lose. You might also struggle with digestive issues like bloating, occasional constipation, acid fatigue, and a host of long-term problems down the line, such as heart, liver, and memory issues. In my eyes, seed oils have caused an epidemic of these issues in America. And look, I love if everyone could stick with olive oil because it can massively help transform their health. But like I said earlier, all olive oil is the same. You have to find the right one to get the most benefits. And the really good olive oil is one specific thing that can help give you more energy, stronger for your muscles, and help support a healthy heart. It's called hydroxyapatite, or as I like to call it, a fat salt. The scientists believe it's a key ingredient to a healthy lifestyle, energetic and youthful body, or a healthy weight. Well, through my research, I discovered there's only one type of olive oil you should use to get that, and that is the fat oil. And I'm going to tell you later. I'll also show you exactly what happens when you add this to your meal, no matter what your current diet looks like. You see, research shows this fatty super polyphenol can help keep you powered up and energized, support healthy heart blood vessels, support blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol already within the normal range, help soothe worn down joints, overworked muscles, keep your skin feeling soft, hydrated. Pretty incredible, right? Well, the benefits don't stop. That vitamin is one of the only polyphenols that cross the blood-brain barrier, which means it gets absorbed quickly and works fast to help your body protect itself against free radicals that cause aging and illness. Support a sharp, focused brain, brightly, help your brain continue working, peak performance for years to come, and it also distributes the benefits throughout your entire body, the brain, muscles, liver, heart, kidney, and beyond. Because this nutrient is delivered fat, it means it also helps stir you up faster. Plus, studies show eating diets that include fat can actually help you lose more weight and keep it off after you do. Plus, the fat fighter is exceptionally powerful because it can actually help your body reduce its fat storage, meaning even if your body wanted to, it couldn't hang on your body. That sounds like a dream to business because the fat fighter is a true power hitter when it comes to all aspects of your health. And as a cardiothoracic surgeon, I believe in extra virgin olive oil may be the healthiest food on the planet. In fact, in my medical practices, I always advise my patients get at least a liter of olive oil with you. Salad dressing, and fish, heck, even drinking it straight. Now, I know how hard it is to get that much olive oil into your system. But in order to slim down, support your heart health, supercharge your energy, soothe your joints, and make your skin glow, a liter of olive oil a week is more than worth it. But I've got to be honest, even I struggle with giving up every week. In fact, between the two of us, my wife Penny and I like to go through about a liter and a half a week. So most of the time, even I'm not getting as much as I recommend. Now, that just wasn't okay with me. How can I recommend patients that I couldn't even do myself? Well, I knew that quantity needs to go up. I realized increasing the amount of olive oil my patients and I could put in a week wasn't doing it. The answer barrels of oil is 4 hours. So you can get all the benefits without needing a liter a week. That meant maximizing the amount of the fat fiber in the oil. So I hit the books and started researching for myself where I could find olive oil that was rich in this potent phenol. I knew it would be on the shelves of my local grocery because I've already tried it. From the most expensive to the least, none of them was big enough to put the fat fiber or get the tyrosine. So I looked all over the world to find what that was. First, I headed to the Mediterranean, and I searched for potent Italian oil. I was on the nephrology traveling nowadays by reputation. But what I discovered really surprised me. As it turns out, many Italian olive trees are growing fruits with only base amounts of the fat fiber, thanks to their growing conditions in comfortable environments. Their polyphenol production is good, but not great. I also checked out olive oils from Greece, Spain, and other Mediterranean countries, known for high quality olive